2 to 3 weeks
to ship from fucking
to ship from who the fuck
the
knows?
fucking slums of China.
Where'd you
hey.
order them from?
We're live, by the way.
Hello, people.
Hi.
Yeah, the slums of, I don't know where the hell they're coming. I don't know, I saw something on Facebook, man. We're talking about those fidget cubes again, by the way.
Spinny Johns too.
Yeah, but I don't know where the hell they're coming from. But yeah, they emailed me back because I clicked on the tracking information in my email, and like it just says, what the hell did it say? It just said like tracking information not available, and I was like, oh, and this was like 2 weeks after I placed the order, so I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, apparently like they claim that they make it really clear that it takes 2 to 3 weeks to ship out, and then whatever time it takes for it to actually ship.
Like China or something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I've got a couple of things.
They're gonna be cool though. I'm gonna be happy about
it.
Yeah. I get a couple of those things from those websites, and it's just like it always comes up in the tracking information, like fucking.
Yeah.
Like it'll have like a set time, and it'll just start making like a bunch of excuses like on the tracking information, like fucking. I don't know.
Especially when it's a small package like that, shipping from China.
It's a cheap
it
thing
shouldn't
too.
take that long.
It's like it would be. It's not surprising if it gets lost or something.
Yeah.
If it doesn't even make it over here.
And we got Shane and.
Oh yeah,
room
this
today.
is Shane. Forgot about that part of the segment, huh?
Hello.
Hello. Hey, hello. How's everyone's day? It's a nice day in PA. It's
it
nice and
is
sunny,
very
nice and
out.
warm.
Nice day. Got greasy at work, which.
Yeah. So wait, tell me about what you do again. I have no idea where you work or anything.
I barely
it's
know.
a warehouse that sells wicker and pottery. Used to drive forklift, getting into maintenance now.
Okay.
Got to be a tractor mechanic today.
So you just like you just maintain the warehouse. You're kind of like one of those guys, or you don't actually like move any of like the shit within the warehouse.
It depends. Like if we're really busy in the warehouse, I'll drive the forklift. And
So you're just like you're just all over.
Yeah.
A water
I'm
spider.
like ditto. I go where I need.
Yeah. You like it?
That's pretty cool. I mean, I'm definitely more into the maintenance aspect than driving forklift, but that's still cool.
Mm-hmm.
Driving forklift can be boring, and it's just
sitting.
Especially when compared to like something like maintenance, that's hands on, whereas forklift driving is like not really,
And you gotta like think like where pieces go and shit.
Yeah.
Like you have to put like it depends on what you're doing, but
Yeah, it wouldn't have been too bad if I was like an order picker or something, but I was just like helping out with putting trucks away and like boring stuff.
yeah, okay, yeah, that is really boring.
Yeah.
Some of it's fun.
Yeah, it has its days.
Yeah.
what kind of car do
sure.
you got?
It's an 86 Volkswagen Golf.
Isn't it like diesel?
Yeah, diesel and 5-speed. It's great. It's like a little tank.
I looked outside it
looks like a little
yesterday.
tank.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looks like a little like army like V-dub.
It's lifted like 4 inches.
Yeah.
It's on like 22-inch tires.
That's awesome.
Is it like sound? It runs good and everything.
Yeah, it's got like 240,000 on it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Has it been like worked on? Like obviously like a shit ton.
It's been rigged a lot.
It's been rigged.
I mean,
it works.
it actually came from somebody around here that like pulled it out of a field, did a head gasket on it, and just started driving it again.
Dude, I was watching this video today. It was like a bike crash in China today or something like that. This dude was like driving this like little moped looking thing, and he hit the side of this like it wasn't even. He was going like 15, 20, 30 max, so it wasn't even like
fast.
a crazy like accident. He hit the side of this like Mack truck that was like going across the intersection. It looked like his like thing like couldn't stop or something.
Oh my god.
And he like hits the thing, and his fucking moped instantly like explodes in the fire.
Shit.
And I'm just like, wow,
Did he
that's
die?
why you need like no. And I read the rest of the thing. He said he like survived with like no life-threatening injuries.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I was just
shit.
like, that's why you need like regulations on like, because dude, you literally just hit the like it was like 20 miles an hour. You just hit the side of like this wall, and this thing just exploded into flames. It was the craziest thing I ever
Damn.
saw.
That's why a lot of cars and stuff aren't allowed to be imported.
That's what I'm saying.
They're like crazy safety standards.
Yeah, there are a lot of
They
America.
rig shit in like China that like they just
Yeah, a
literally
lot of
will-
different countries. They have nowhere near the same
tractors.
safety standards.
Yeah.
They'll drive like fucking like lawn tractors like
That-
around.
oh my god, did I tell you guys? I think I might have told you before. I know this guy. He's like a neighbor, sort of in the neighborhood, but he's like an engineer. He works with EH&S now,
Yeah.
environmental health and safety. But I used to like shovel snow back in the day, for him, and he told me about this story. He was like going between jobs when he retired. I think he retired from being an engineer, and or I don't know, quit or something. But point is, he was like going through like job interviews for like these, obviously very high level positions, because he's like very smart, and like he could, if he was an engineer, he's going from an engineer, he better be stepping it up. And I think he just wanted to like help people more, because he's pretty old. But this guy went to China for this job interview, and he told me this story. He was getting a tour of the facility. I'm assuming it was some kind of factory or something. But there's these giant CNC machines that the way that they work it in that wherever he was in China, they won't stop any production for maintenance.
Really?
So this machine is giant. It's like the size of a room.
Yeah.
There's a maintenance worker whose job it is to run into the machine while the blade, it's like basically like a giant drill bit basically that goes like back and forth
on the other side
in
of the
like
room.
this room. Yeah. When the blade gets to this side of the room, he has to run in and clean out all the chips that it's like making.
Wow.
And he's got to get out before it comes back, otherwise he's totally dead. Well, in the middle of this tour, he watches this guy trip on his way out of this machine. The bit comes back, tears him to pieces.
Wow.
Obviously kills him. And he just like, obviously he was like just dumbfounded. Like he just looked at the manager.
Did they stop them? I wonder if they stopped the
And
machine.
and he looked at him, and he just kind of was just like, what the hell now? Because like nobody was even like really moving.
Nobody even like
He
shrugged
said
about it.
he said he watched two guys stop what they were doing for like a minute tops, walk over to the dead dude, grab him by the arms, drag him out the back door, and get back to work. And the manager looked at him and said, "Well, we'll call his family at the end of the shift."
Wow.
It's just like, what the fuck? This guy's like, he's going for a job interview for like EH&S shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, not at the time, but like, that's what he became. And now like,
Asian culture is so nutty.
that's insane. I couldn't believe it. I was shoveling snow, and he told me this story. I like stopped and just looked at him. I was like, what? That's nuts.
It's a very like conformist society. It's just like
Yeah.
Business-based mindset.
I've heard of like people. I've never obviously been to anywhere in
Yeah,
Asia.
no, I've never
but
been there
I've
either.
heard people like talk about it, and it's just like how you like walk around New York, everyone like gives each other their space and shit. If you bump into somebody will probably like get pissed at you.
Oh, that's not how it is there.
In
No.
China, literally,
Yeah,
everyone's
no.
just literally like bouncing off of each other.
Yeah,
They literally
they're
just like they're just like standing like bouncing around like off
like
of each
Tokyo
other.
and shit,
Yeah,
too,
they
yeah.
have people who their job is literally to
The
just
train
stuff
pusher?
people on the
Yeah.
train.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god, I saw that
The
video
train stuffers.
a while ago. That was insane. He's forcing people in. Like, could you imagine? There's got to be a couple people somewhere like super getting like.
There's probably like an old lady in there.
That's
like,
what I
and
mean.
shit,
Yeah,
like,
it's got
you know what I'm saying?
an old
a
lady,
pregnant lady,
Yup.
little
Getting
kids.
like super like like painfully squished in there. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And of course, there's probably still those assholes that are like trying to get like some personal space with their
Yeah.
elbows and shit,
That's
even though
insane.
like they're obviously they don't have it. At that point, you just kind of gotta like sit there, and just be like bouncing around until you get off.
Hopefully you don't have to like be in there for long.
Yeah, exactly.
Like hopefully you got like the next stop.
Yeah. I'd be worried about getting like pickpocketed or something. Cause like, what do you even do at that point?
Oh yeah, that's
Nice.
probably the last thing they even think about. You know what I'm saying? We're so like concentrated on shit like that. They probably don't even.
That was
They
fun.
probably don't even have pockets. They're like, fuck this.
I was like gonna bring something up, and then I realized they're like, well, remember back when the Olympics was in Brazil? It was like
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
There was like all these videos of like going around of people getting pickpocketed in Brazil.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like,
never heard
but
about
it was funny because no, those videos, or no, definitely people got pickpocketed during like the Olympics. People get pickpocketed all the time, but like all those videos were like just like people getting pickpocketed. There was like shit tons of like videos going around the internet. Everyone's like, this is why you don't have the Olympics in Brazil type of thing, and it's just like, no, that's why you don't do it. But this happens all the time, not just for the
it's like,
Olympics.
that's a okay.
But it was literally just people would come running up to like a lady like with her purse and just like rip it out of her hands and just
my
like
God.
run away. Like they just like and they'd be like looking at them like, can you please not? And they're like, no, I'm gonna like kill you if you like don't give this to me type of thing.
I see what they're saying. Like I guess in other words they
But
were
trying to say like this is what's going on at the Olympics type of thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying if you were to say in a way like, you know, you shouldn't have like public, you know, group gatherings like this in a society where this kind of stuff is normal, but at the if they were relating it like direct, like saying that the Olympics was like the reason for, like, yeah, no, that's just bullshit. But yeah, I mean, I get like if you look at it the way I just said, you know,
It was just funny.
I get that, like, you know,
how I thought about it. I was literally gonna bring it up to you guys and be like, yeah, you remember at the Olympics? And I was just like, oh yeah, I remember reading that. It was all bullshit. So it's like I had this whole like thing in my head. You ever see like the ruins of old Olympic games and shit? Like after they use like Olympic stadiums, they literally just don't.
No.
They spend like millions of dollars
I
to
don't
build
know
stadiums, and then they're just
Do
deserted.
they're like separate state. I never
They
knew.
literally-
I don't know anything about that. I assumed they just use like a stadium somewhere.
For every Olympic game, I'm sure they for some places they have a really nice stadium, but if they don't have like when they were in like
made
China
for the
and shit, they
Olympics?
didn't have a nice like stadium in
Okay.
China. They literally had to pay like millions of dollars. That's like
They
the
did that
Olympics.
same.
When you have like the Olympics in your country, it's kind of like this thing almost where you get to like show off to the rest of the nations like how good your
Exactly.
country is.
Yeah.
So everybody like all the nations kind of like take it as like this and then like literally they spend like billions of dollars like throw all these resources at it, and then as soon as the games are done it's just like
It's a big part. Yeah, it's a big part of every country's. I think at this point, like at this day and age, I think every country's like society is partly built on like their you know, not popular, like entertainment, just media and like you know, all sorts of shit like that. It's like it's just controlled in a way by what people think and how people look at stuff. And of course then you get like crazy countries that just don't give a fuck. They start killing people.
Putin and shit.
Yeah, you got
Oh
Russia
my
just
God,
like putting
man.
missile silos on their beaches.
Putin is like one of the craziest things of the 21st century. 'Cause it's literally just like this gangster who's just like openly gangster.
Yeah.
And is just like
That's what it is.
He's like the
We're
new
here-
world
I'm
Al
here.
Capone.
Runs a big
Uh-huh.
country.
Yeah.
he's like he's not even like secretive about it. It's like the
No,
nuttiest
he's very
thing. He's just like
because that's how the country works.
I
He doesn't
remember,
need
dude,
to be.
I've heard about. I think this was like a year ago. This was like not too long ago, but there's a big like party in Russia to like it's like anti-Putin. Like is they're like, dude, we
Oh,
don't want
really?
a fucking like thug like running our country.
Yeah.
And like I remember it was literally like one of like the main guys who was in it got like shot, like they said he killed himself like or something like that, like in the middle of like the streets or something like that. He's like walking down the streets and got like shot in the back of the head, and they said he killed himself. It was like something that ridiculous. I don't know the exact specifics on it, but it was like something that ridiculous. And they're just like, yeah, he killed himself, or just like fell on a bullet or something.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the percentage is of people in other countries that want to be living in the United States just can't for some reason?
Can't get on the
You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people do you think that really is?
A lot.
I
It's
don't know.
probably a
A
lot.
ridiculous. amount.
Just for the idea of America. I'm not saying like the specifics, because you know, you go into the specifics of America and the government, it's not exactly what another country, you know, who knows nothing would probably think it is, but it's still like the concept of America is still a completely free society compared to some of these dictatorships. And it's like, what do you, like, you know, how many of those people do you think are just like going along their whole life,
Yeah.
just going along with shit just
Well, it's
because like they have to?
people with families and shit. Like, you got kids and
That's
they're
what I
living
mean,
like
yeah.
poor, and you're just
Yeah.
pissed because like I have these kids
And what are you gonna do? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're already poor, and you have to take care of your whole family. What the hell? There's no way. That's the hole you can't get yourself out of. You just
Yeah.
gotta die in there. You know,
That's why
it's
a
so
lot-
messed up.
a lot of like Mexican people who like run over, like come over to America, like they flee to America and shit. Most of the time, they end up like if they have a family, they send most of their money back to like Mexico.
Yeah, that's what
And
a
they
couple
live-
of the temps that I work with do.
I have a coworker who just like brought her husband, who she's been married with for I don't know months, maybe years. I don't even know. I think it's been maybe a year, actually, because I think I remember the wedding. But yeah, it's like he was in Puerto Rico. She lived, or I'm sorry, not Puerto Rico. That's part of the United States. Dominican Republic. That's what it is. And that's where he was ever since they got married. And he just now, like a month ago, came back with her. Like she went on vacation there and brought him back because they got all the papers ready and shit. But it's like, that kind of stuff happens a lot.
Yeah, the owners of my work actually moved here because they're from different social classes, so they like weren't allowed to get married in China.
Oh wow!
That's crazy.
Wow!
Right.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So that's kind of like the fucking arranged marriage type shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so like he'll go back to China and do all like the business stuff, and she just runs everything here.
that's cool.
Wow.
though.
Yeah, that is.
That's like a love story that no American
It's
business
definitely
will ever
interesting.
cover.
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty
That's,
significant.
that's better than like fucking Twilight, and like that will never be a movie. I can guarantee you.
Oh no. That's crazy.
But then there's this thing too. It's like, I obviously like, that's like my whole thing. Like, with like all the people who like live in really poor countries, I just feel like bad for like the people who have like families and shit. They're like living in
Yeah,
like.
it's just like what I was just saying.
poverty.
They have no choice. They're in that hole. I feel so bad for
But
those
then
people.
there's like the other thing too. Everyone's like, "What the fuck, America? Like, why you gotta like be such a dick, like letting people in?" And it's like I kind of like see like the whole reason it's so good here is because they're so like, but picky. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there has
It's
to
like
be
a
some.
good job.
It's
You
not
can't
black
just
and
let
white.
anybody like do that job. It's like you need it's like a skilled skilled labor type job. You can't just like hire anybody. No, they have to know like what they're doing. It's kind of that same like kind of concept. Like you can't, if you just let everybody in, then like it's not gonna be what it's supposed to be. You gotta do, you gotta have a system so that
Americans,
you can uphold what
like,
you meant to do.
Immigration system is basically like set to like if you're like a poor person like in a country, you're like not gonna be like able to, because I'm pretty sure you have to like pay and shit. Like there's like,
yeah, you
real
have to
money,
pay, yeah.
like
Shit.
legit money.
Yeah,
you
my
have to-
coworker had to pay just to have like her husband come over. Like there's a lot of paperwork that you gotta pay for and stuff like
They
that.
don't make
Yeah.
it easy on you.
No, it's not easy, not at all.
You have to be like a
by any means.
businessman or something like in a different country for them
Yeah,
to be
and
like,
I don't know
"Oh,
anything about this guy, but I'm assuming he's like got some sort of he's putting something into it himself also, because she's like,
But then the question is like, can you have like a society that's like as good as America when you just let like anybody walk into the country? Is that a
Exactly.
possible thing?
that's
Is
a
that
good
possible?
question. Yeah, that's a very good question. Is it possible to be more lenient than we are with certain
And
certain
still
things,
have our
and still have the concept of what America is supposed to be? That's a very good question. I'm sure there's other ways to do what we're doing. I think there's a lot of things that our government has done that are wrong, and it probably impacted a lot more than just that one thing, But, you never know.
And that's the thing too. It's like even if they want to like change that shit, like it would probably be like, all right, everybody in the country, like your quality of life is gonna go like down like a tiny bit so that we could like help other people in the world. And everyone's gonna be like, well, fuck them, like you know what I'm saying? My life doesn't need to be harder because they want to come to my country, but it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, how did you like obtain this land? Like what? Like you bought it from like
That, and then
you
it always
bought
comes
it
down
from the
to that.
galaxy.
Exactly, yeah. It comes down to how the hell did we get here? Yeah,
We took it from the fucking
we
Indians.
just took it, and
And
then
we
they're
call
like,
them
oh.
Indians, and they're not even Indian.
Exactly, yeah. It's so you know what always cracks me up. Now, okay, I think some conspiracy theorists and some conspiracies are just too outrageous. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. But at the same time, you listen to some of these conspiracies, these like deep and like crazy conspiracies, and you like listen to like an argument of like a conspiracy theorist on like something like outrageous, and when you really break it down, it all comes down to like all the knowledge we know today. We know from essentially
Some anarchist?
storytelling and just like writings.
Mm-hmm.
But what did they teach you in school? They sat you in a room at some point, I'm assuming, depending on what school you're from, but like at least they did it with me. It was in like, I don't even know what kind of class. I just remember we sat in this room at one point and we all like got in a line. We sat in a line on the floor, and they whispered, whisper
Whisper
down the line.
Yeah.
You whisper something. They whisper a story into the first person's ear. They wait till it gets to the last person. They say, "Okay, what's the story?" And it's nothing like what happened. So
Yeah,
how
nothing
did
at
that
all.
not happen throughout history,
Exactly.
even in writings? And then you think about the conspiracy theorists. They're not really that crazy because what we know is true is just a bunch of stories and shit.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say? It looks interesting.
Well, the reason that story was so different when it got to the end of the line is because there's kids like me that are little fucking assholes. So somebody would whisper to me, ice cream. I would whisper, squirrels. That was me. And then I'd be
You're
sitting,
more of those
and
guys.
I'd just sit there at the end whenever the last kid said squirrels, I'd be like,
But no. But tell me how there wasn't that asshole in government that did the same kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not to that extreme, but
no, they definitely did.
but that's what I'm
Probably
saying.
worse.
There was some asshole in government who was super serious about his whole career the whole time, but then that thing came up and he was just like, "Oh, fuck this." It's like
got a funny
this is
story.
what happened. And it's like it's nothing like what happened. And
I was-
that's totally possible.
I think I was in first grade, and this is funny, dude. This blew my mind, dude. We were playing Whisper Down the Line in art class, I remember, and there was this kid I didn't like. He was sitting behind me, and I don't even know. I can't even really remember the full. It was this kid I didn't really like, and he thought he was my friend or something. Or he was I don't even know. He was fucking with me, tapping me on the back and shit, and just fucking with my back. And I don't know, man. I was in a good mood that day or something. Because I remember I just whipped backwards with an elbow and completely missed. I didn't look or anything, so the kid had already stepped back, and I just turned around as hard as I could with elbow. I was gonna elbow the kid in the arm, or so that was my goal. And dude, I just turned all the way around and hit the phone that was on the wall and elbowed the phone off the wall.
He's up against the wall. Oh.
Man.
We were all standing against the one side of the
Yep.
wall. Yeah, he just, dude, and then dude, the teacher took me out. I never got any trouble for that. I remember, but I remember the teacher was just "Whoa, what the fuck?" And I was like, "Dude, kid's fucking with me. I don't know what to do."
It's funny. I know this kid now today. I'm somewhat friends with him, and but I remember actually shit. You know what? No, come to think of it, I'm thinking of a different person.
It's
There was
crazy how this shit
point.
works.
Yeah, exactly. Point was, as this kid in school, it was in Spanish class. I forget the kid's name, but I wouldn't name him anyway.
Wait, you say you're in high school?
In high school, yeah, it was 11th grade, no, 10th grade or something, and I'm sitting and there's a kid behind me, and we're in rows, obviously, in the desks. I'm sitting there listening, and I forget, I just kept getting a poke or a tap, his hand just kept hitting my
Kid
back.
kept fucking with
And
me.
it's the exact same situation. I turned around, I was what the what's going on? And I don't remember even the whole situation, but I just remember I turned around so peacefully. I wasn't even trying to start any problems. I certainly wasn't trying to elbow nobody or nothing like that. I wasn't violent whatsoever. I just turned around kind of confused. I was just so. And this dude just snapped at me, man. He's dude, I'm gonna punch you in the face or something. It's just
Okay.
What? And it was this really small. Yeah, it was it made me laugh because there was no way he was gonna do anything to me. Not, in both senses of there's no way he would have the guts to stand up and punch me in the face in a classroom. And there's also
If you punch
he
me in the
probably
face,
wouldn't even
I'll kill you.
he probably wouldn't even been able to aim at my face properly. So it's I was just so confused though. I was I wasn't even pissed.
Yeah.
And I turned around and he threatens to punch me in the face. It was,
Shane, you were
Tough
probably always
guy.
the big
Nuts.
kid. Did you beat up anybody in middle school? I'm just kidding.
was he a bully?
No, nobody ever messed with me though, so
That's
that
a
was a
good
plus
thing.
side.
I was a weirdo, so I got messed with a little bit.
I was gonna
but
say
nobody
lots
really-
of people fucked with me, but I never took it to a physical standpoint.
Oh, I got physical with a bunch of people. Nobody wanted none.
I mean, there was one person that got me mad enough to swing on him in 8th grade, but that was it.
I remember I heard, dude, my two buddies. I won't say any names, but I'm sure they wouldn't even care, but like I remember my one buddy, he like even described this like story to me like afterwards. He was just like, yeah, man, I was just like young, I was like full of testosterone, and just like I was in a point in my life where I was like getting bullied a lot, and like our one buddy and our other buddy, you ever hear the story with the whisker, the egg beater? Our one buddy came up to the other buddy with an egg beater, just like literally just fucking with him, like just like put it against him and just started like
the old time egg beaters.
Yeah,
and self crankers.
And dude, my one buddy just turned around and punched my other buddy square in the face for like egg beatering him, and like he even like describes me. He's like immediately afterwards, I was just like, I don't even know why I did that. He's just like, dude, my leg, I just flared
just
up.
Reaction.
He just got heated like within a quarter second and just like needed to
something
react.
about that spinning egg beater, man. He just didn't like.
Well, he just was probably getting fucked with a lot, and he just like
exactly.
he was like real defensive.
Overwhelmed, yeah.
There was one person that fucked with me back in like 8th grade, and they used to like swing their hand in my face, and I just held a pencil up one day, and they stabbed themselves, and I was like, I didn't do nothing. He's the swung at me.
That's the best thing. Oh man,
That's some shit.
yeah.
I stabbed myself with a pencil before in 6th grade. Oh my god! And you know what? The best part was I'm just getting over appendix surgery.
Oh,
So
man.
I'm like still limping around. I'm like waiting for the teacher at the front of the room, and like I'm sitting there bouncing my pencil on the eraser on the desk in the front of the room, and like, you know, when you bounce it on the eraser, obviously like the tip is facing straight up, and like, well, I don't know, the tip like slipped down. You can still see it in my hand. Like the tip like slipped down like way down here. So my hand was like up high, and I went to go like bounce it again, but like I missed, and it was just already, I don't know how the fuck I don't think I was watching either. That was the thing. So the pencil was on the desk, and I just like slammed my hand down.
Oh, God.
So it just like caught like this top part like in the middle of my palm, like
Right
by
in
my
the-
index finger, and it just like the whole tip of the finger went sideways into my hand, and it was like pushing the skin out on the side.
Oh, man.
And I just like looked at it and pulled it out, and like 2 seconds my hand was blood.
Ugh.
And I still have like a gray spot. The nurse told me it wasn't harmful though. She said it's graphite nowadays. It's not lead,
My
so
brother-
you're good.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
My brother's
all right.
actually got a piece of graphite like right here in his nose because he got stabbed in like 6th
Oh,
grade.
dude, he got stabbed. It's like prison rules in
That's why
there.
he got shanked.
It was back in the freaking early 90s, man.
Dude, don't let your kids go to fucking public school. They will get shanked. I saw a
Oh,
fucked up
shit.
video the other day. It was like, I don't know, dude. Dude got stabbed in the eyeball with a pencil. And
Oh.
it was like them removing the tip of the pencil broke
Oh,
off. And the
man.
dude's, and it was, the
I saw
video was
something
them
like that.
removing the tip of the eye. And the eye didn't look too fucked up. That was the weird thing about it. Like,
That's crazy.
And he was still like awake, and like they just kind of like pulled it out. But I was like,
Yeah, it's messed up. Somebody just showed me the other day like this video of like this weird like fucking cyst or something getting like surgically like cut open and drained.
Oh, that shit
And-
skeeves me out.
And dude,
it's his hand, and they cut.
no,
Oh,
no,
that's a
no,
No,
no.
that was a burn. I saw that.
You know what I'm talking
burns
about.
are bad.
You know
Yeah, it
what
was
I'm
like a
talking about.
2nd-degree burn. It was the whole
His
palm. The
whole
dude just
palm
like gets
was
it
just
caught.
a bubble, and they had to cut the whole
Yeah,
thing off.
that's how it becomes.
I will-
Burns are completely different. So I just had like first aid and CPR training not too long ago, and yeah, like burns
completely
is a
different
whole
fluid.
section. Yeah, burns is an entire like you treat it differently with, you know, you have like a basic first aid kit. Like what you need to know is like a lot more than just like, oh, if like you have a wound, so let me put a band-aid on it. No, if it's a burn,
Yeah.
that's so much different. If you put it just like band-aid on
So
it, you're
many
screwing
details
shit
to
up.
it.
Like it's got to be like a non-stick like thing, and yeah, because for reasons like that, like if it even gets like the tiniest bit stuck to something, now they have to rip that off. And like really they should be, if it's that big and in a spot like that, they should be surgically like precision cutting that off. It shouldn't be like you're tearing it. It's gonna cause so many infections and all. It's just bad. Burns are so bad.
They damaged like multiple layers.
Yeah, and the worst the degree is basically how many layers, how deep it gets, and yeah, the 2nd degree is bad, and it's
How
you
many
got
degrees is there?
just
3 or
3, yeah,
4?
3.
What's the different? I don't know.
Uh,
Like the different what? What's,
First is like a normal like pick something up hot, like
Yeah,
now,
like you
second,
you grab the pan on your stove for a second, and you're like,
yeah, you
oh,
get like a little blister,
and you
or
might
something.
have like a white blister. Second degree is where it starts to like
You get like
it
a
actually
swollen water.
it actually changes color, and like yeah, you might get like some pussiness, and like
Third is like permanent damage.
third degree
Third
is
is
like
muscle
burning,
damage.
Yeah,
You
like burning
burned
down
your
through all
body.
your skin.
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. You burned your body, and it's not just like a matter of like, oh, I just gotta let
You gotta
this heal
recover your
quick.
muscles.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like muscle and nerve damage.
It's
Yeah.
rehabilitation
Nerve
at third
damage
degree.
is not like your nerves can't really come back.
And obviously, depending on where you get burned and everything, if it's you could have a surface third degree burn,
Yeah,
like just your skin, like if it was on your arm or something. But like that's it's
it's like your
you're
skin
doubling.
roasted off.
Yeah, you're throwing the recovery time so much farther. There's just so many more like chances for infection and all sorts of shit like that. It's terrible. Burns are very bad. I would never want a second degree burn
It's
even.
like when your skin's, I forget, it's slough. I think it's like slough. It's like when your skin can like literally fall off. It's considered
yeah.
like sloughing or whatever it is.
That's like boiling water and stuff.
I always, this weird thing, but I had this thought back in the day. I was like, what's the worst way to die? And I was like, probably like getting burned to death would probably be the worst. And then I started thinking about it for a while. And
I
I was
remember
like,
we were talking about this.
and I was like, no, getting
steamed.
steamed to death.
Steamed to death. That would be the absolute worst.
It would get in your lungs, your
there's a
eyeballs,
lot of ways to die,
your
I'm sure,
nose, your ears, your entire like your insides was like it'd be bad.
Yeah, when you steam broccoli, it's like it doesn't just. It's never gonna like burn on the outside. No.
Imagine
Like,
inhaling.
you're like
It's just gonna turn
exactly.
mush.
You're inhaling. You're breathing in. Your pores are sucking in. Like, oh, dude, every part of your insides would just burn alive as you're like sitting there,
your
like a
lungs would-
perfectly
you'd
normal
probably die
person.
because of like something with your lungs.
Oh yeah, you'd die probably way before your body changed at all.
I read this thing I thought was horrible. It was some like medieval way that they would kill people. They would like make them drink boiling water, and it would like swell their esophagus and
Oh my
like lungs
God,
shut.
man, that's messed up.
Yeah,
That just like causes like the esophagus lining to like fall off, like, and you're just
Depends
probably
how
gonna-
hot, boiling
yeah,
water.
you're like
Shit.
liquefying and like
Who the
making
fuck
everything
knows?
swell. So like if you don't die from asphyxiation, you're gonna die from like
I was
your
gonna
guts
say,
rotting.
one way or another, you're
Yeah,
I
you're
watched
dead.
something before. It was like the most fucked up ways where like there is like some tortures that are real good because it's like there'd be certain tortures that you like don't die from, but it's like you want to die from almost. Like
Oh,
those
yeah.
are the worst ones.
Oh,
like
that's
the
what
ones,
torture's all about.
the ones
Yeah.
that you can't die from but you want to are like the absolute
Yeah,
worst.
that there's no possible way they could even kill you with it,
Mhm.
but you're gonna wish. Yeah,
like
that's what I'm
Chinese
saying.
water torture.
Yeah. See, but there, a lot of tortures are like you could easily kill somebody. It's just you're taking it to a pointer. But yeah, all tortures are based off the fact like you want to fuck. You would rather just be killed,
Mhm.
but instead I'm just gonna do this, and you're gonna hate it.
Do you guys watch The Walking Dead at all?
I don't watch much TV. I watch a lot of podcasts, but
I
yeah,
watched
I
up
On
on
The
the
I like
Walking
it.
Dead, there's an episode or two from this current season, or most recent season, that the one guy is locked in a jail cell, and they just keep playing the same annoying song every day. That would drive me freaking nuts.
Yeah, I saw this one thing. It's
They
like
do
a
that in the military. They
Yeah.
do that kind of shit for like stakeout tactics.
yeah. I wouldn't. I
They use
I
it
don't
to
know
drive
about
people crazy.
specifically, but yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I've seen a lot of stuff of like super loud noises and like
Mhm.
flash like therapy.
Yeah.
Like you could super somebody nuts. Obviously a lot of these are like movies that I've seen and shit like that, so it could be totally like. But
Like
no,
s-
it's a thing. Like super loud noises, just like being locked in a room. Could you?
Mhm.
I just imagine this. You're in a room with nothing in it, just white walls, except the lights are just flashing on and off all night long, and you just like there's music that's being like blared 1 second and then like cut off the next second.
They probably hit you
all
with like
night.
a bunch of bass.
All day.
Imagine
It's
it-
super loud.
It's not
like,
even like no. It's just.
yeah, it just you can't even really hear it. Yeah,
Just
it's
vibrates
just
your
thumping
brain.
your body. Yeah, exactly. And imagine that for just one day. One
Dude.
day straight, you'd be nuts.
I went to. I'm sorry, I cut you off, but I'll say
Yeah,
one
man.
thing. I went to a Bass Nectar concert in Atlantic City before.
Wait, what?
I went to a Bass Nectar. It's a EDM like electronic.
Bass Nectar?
Yeah, it's the name of the band.
Okay.
And we went to Atlantic City, the House of Blues. and I don't know, dude. The fucking sound system. There's a spot because in every like concert. It's called like the apex almost, like where the because they'll point
they're all
both
angled.
the speakers both inwards, and you can find that spot where both the speakers are pointed. And at that concert, it was right in front of the concession stand. I remember me and like Brian like stood there for a minute, and like, dude, it like we didn't even really notice it 'cause, like other stuff, but like we didn't like we're just standing there, and like all of a sudden, dude, I don't even know, like my heart started feeling weird, and I was just like, I looked over at Brian, he looked over at me, and he's just like, dude, do you feel that? I was like, dude, we were like standing where both the bass, like
you went from nothing to having sound waves like
blasted.
jump in your skin.
That place is really cool. I've been there before too.
Yeah, we went there one time.
You know, I've never been to a concert.
Really?
That's crazy.
And it blows my mind.
Yeah, you definitely got to go to one, man. I've been to one with Zach before.
Let's do it. I've always
Modest
been
Mouse.
down. It's just like I've never like
Modest Mouse and Watsky.
You went with Modest Mouse
Modest
too?
I drove to
is
Modest Mouse.
My guy. You drove to both.
Modest Mouse is good. I like Modest Mouse.
They're coming around again. They're coming
I
up
just
to
saw
New
that
York,
Reese
I think, or
shared
something.
something.
Oh yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, they're playing in Ithaca, I think.
You know, I noticed there's a lot of like
I've been listening
wine
a while.
tasting and like whiskey tasting like events like recently. Seen a lot on Facebook and stuff to like
I
people
want to
are
start
like
going to those cool events.
I'm saying all these cool things. Like why the hell not?
Especially
what are we
if
doing?
it's in your area. You're going to meet cool people and
yeah,
shit.
what the hell
I just
better
read
are we
something
doing?
awesome that we could do in Lansdale. Apparently, they've got their own like distillery and stuff. They make like brandy, vodka, and something else.
It's funny you said it. There's a lot of places like that
There's
in
a lot of
the area.
distilleries.
There's
a lot of distilleries and shit that like nobody ever knew about.
Yeah, there's a little brewery, and I think it's a restaurant too over in Quakertown.
Oh my god. On that note, I heard about this place one time. It's in Philly.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I looked it up actually on maps, and it's like an hour away from my house. But sometime if we're anywhere near it, we gotta go. As I saw it on what the hell is that show called? You know that crazy like rocker dude that became a chef?
Guy Fieri?
Yeah.
Diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Thank you. So it's like, well, how do you not know? Yeah, from that description. From that description, you can't not know.
Flavortown.
There's only one guy like that. Come on. He's a special man.
Yeah,
You should have just said the fat dude with the frosted tips. But I'm so blown that I got that.
That guy, I saw, I don't know what his show's called, whatever it is. I think he has a bunch, so like who the hell knows?
Yeah.
But the one show, he goes around to all these different like restaurants and like good restaurants that have very good reviews and like a good reputation and stuff. And he'll talk with the chef like on the show, and like the chef will cook like their signature meal or something, and like they'll step by step through the whole thing. Point is, this one restaurant that he did on that show, my mom was watching it one day, and I was just like, oh, I've heard of this guy, and like I saw it was like in Philadelphia. It's called Standard Tap. It's a bar. It's like a pub. Super amazing place. After I looked into it, they're like this. The food that they have there. All right, like, have you guys been to like TGI Fridays or like Red Rock, any of those normal places?
Yeah.
It's you want like a good, let's say steak, good steak dinner, maybe 20 to like $30 with a drink and shit. Okay. No different there. It's this pub. It's called Standard Tap. It was one of the first pubs in that area to have all local breweries for their suppliers.
Awesome. Nice.
So they literally, and they give you a list of all and it's all places everywhere from like around here, like Allentown, like up to like New Jersey, but nothing past that. And it's like, so they have like a full bar, a big selection of alcohols, obviously, but their food is what caught my eye. Like I thought it was pretty cool that they're like the oldest local brewery using like supplied like pub in Philadelphia, but their food, they got like, they're all about
Farm raised shit.
no, the opposite, like wild caught shit.
Nice.
So they have all like
It's even
venison.
better.
They have elk. They have salmon.
I actually have heard of this
These
place.
super crazy good meals. I looked into so many of them. They have these delicious meals, and they're all like freshly homemade. They don't use any like bagged onions or not. No, they'll cut up an onion and they'll use it like that. Like they're like this super like I don't want to say organic. I don't know that much about them, but just very wild caught foods and very good meals. Like, and I looked into like what they have each week, and like they
It's
do
different?
like
That's good.
yes, they do a different thing each, and that's what sold me. Because if you're doing the same thing each week, how the hell are you getting this like a wild caught thing?
That's what I'm
You
saying.
have it like
That's how you know
you have
it's
it
random.
known
Yeah.
that you're gonna get it every week. So how the hell is it wild caught like organic? No, every week they have like a different menu. They got like a chalkboard and shit. But then there's some things like they make this crazy chicken pot pie and shit. They have that all the time because like that's something they can do all the time. It's regular ingredients, but they got these deer meals and all sorts of shit.
I heard of a place kind of does like the same thing. Like they'll get different stuff each week or two, but then you can get like a burger or something you say made out of like buffalo or ostrich or like whatever they have.
They have the same. Yep, they have the same similar things. That's amazing to me to be able to supply wild like caught foods, not just like you hit up the bulk supplier. And
Yeah,
you're
it's
just,
not something like the general public is going to be like, oh yeah, that sounds like an everyday thing.
It's like people have such like a negative view on Philly too. They like think like nothing good goes on
Oh,
in
yeah.
Philly.
And
It's like the whole West Side is like, dude, there's like fucking rich dude. You ever
Yeah,
see like the mansions and
Oh,
like
yeah.
outskirts
Row.
of Philly?
See, every area is like that.
That's
I
what
feel
I'm
like. I
saying.
mean, okay, now I'm talking in America. Obviously, other countries are a lot different. I mean, I'm assuming I've never been to another country,
You go
so I
like the
can't
west
say.
side
But
of Philly, there's like some really cool like strips and shit with like
Yeah.
really cool stores. They
Even
have a
New
drum
York.
circle in Philly every Wednesday.
Yeah, in the park.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I always wanted to go to it. I never gone to it. It's drum. They literally have it at the same spot every week.
Yeah, we should. Let's do it. Shit,
Just get 2 bongo drums.
dude.
It's literally just a bunch of fucking
That's awesome.
whack jobs that sit around in a circle, meet people, and fucking hit
Yeah.
bongo drums.
It's I just like those groups, those little like organizations. They're most of them non-profit organizations, maybe
No, it's
taking
just a
donations at the most, but it's literally just it's something just like this. You come to this place, you have this set time. You come to this
Shane, did we
place.
pay you?
Yeah, we pay you.
Absolutely.
I'm on the fucking payroll.
He's
by
like, I'm
now.
on the clock right now, man. You better drag this out. It's like-
I don't have to clock in. I'm on
No,
salary.
What's
like-
the longest story I know? All right, let's do it. What are you gonna say?
No, I
Sorry.
like these places. I like just events like that. Just even events, those wine tasting events. Those are all super cool things that everybody should be going to more of, because like even the wine tasting, the whiskey tasting events, like it's like all something that a lot of people do and very local in every area, but like nobody really, not a lot of people go to these things, and it's like a super cool thing. Even if you don't want to, like, I feel like a lot of people like take those things as like, oh, I gotta go there to like meet a girl or something. It's like, why can't you just like meet people?
You can do whatever you want.
Like, why?
It's hard to get people to go out in general, like
I
let alone to
know.
go out and do something that's like, oh, there's going to be a lot of people there.
A lot of people I don't
you
know.
hit a friend up and you try to make like an actual plan for like something like legit, and it's like this. It turns into like this crazy, like much harder thing than it meant to be. Like
Yeah,
than
it turns
was
into like a
meant to be.
4-day conversation on meeting up for 2 hours.
Yeah, it should just and
Basically.
that's honestly, it's funny you say that. Like with this podcast, like we're on what, episode 5, like so many people are into it, and I say this based off like
So many
Facebook.
people are afraid to just take the jump.
Well, and that's what I'm about to, like so many people, like when I first like put it on Facebook or like said something to somebody in person or something, they're like super into the idea. They're hype about it. They're like, they think it's the coolest thing, especially once I explain like the possibilities, the monetization of certain things, and just all the possibilities of of just a simple podcast about nothing. We're literally just talking. We're not doing this about anything. And these, like, they seem super into it, but then it's like I hit them up to like come, like, come on, like they said they wanted to, and it's like it turns into like a
Maybe.
yeah, like oh yeah, well maybe another day. And it's like, well,
If you don't want to do it, then
you
don't do
weren't,
it.
well, you weren't, and it seemed like a cool idea to you when you first saw it, but then when you
But
actually
for someone else to do.
but then when you actually put it in like a perspective of like, oh wow, I gotta go do this, you're just like, oh, like, because they're not thinking about it like that. And I think a lot of people are excited about the idea because it's a good idea, it's a cool idea, there's a lot of possibilities, but when they think about actually being a part of that and having to like just put, I mean, you gotta put in some effort.
Yeah.
It's not something, even sitting here, like we set this up, we're just, the point, like literally, what the point of the podcast is. You just come here, you sit down in this nice room where nobody's going to be barging through that door or asking you to like cut the grass or like,
help me with this,
calling you into work or something like that. You just can sit here, you can hang out for as long as you have, and you can just talk about the things that are interesting to you.
On your head.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people aren't thinking about it in that way until they realize like that it's like that.
I think a lot of people just get nervous and stuff too. Like they're all about the idea, and then they're like, "Oh man, what am I going to talk about? Like, what are we going to do for however long
they get
I'm there?"
stuck on they get stuck on the fact that people are watching.
Yeah.
That's
but it shouldn't be that. Like the people.
They don't even get
this
stuck on the
camera
people
here,
watching. It's like they get stuck on like trying to be like interesting.
Trying to make this a thing.
Yeah.
They want to personify themselves.
I don't want you to act any different. If I were to tell you, hey, you want to hang out, come over to my house, I
We'd
want
have
you
the
to
same
act exactly.
conversation.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Like if this camera wasn't here, if these microphones weren't here,
It's even better because we probably wouldn't even have this conversation. It's like it brings it out of us.
Yeah, we'd just be sitting here like,
yeah, it implies.
We'd be
Yeah.
talking
to do.
about something, but we wouldn't be like trying to like actively like engage our brains in like
That's the
conversation.
I'm glad you said that because like a podcasting is only good. Like okay, I feel like in some of the overviews of what this podcast is about, it kind of gives the impression that like this is like a candid camera kind of thing, and it's not. Like we're all aware that the camera's there, and it's like, but that exactly like you're saying, that's what makes it almost better because it makes it a place where we almost have to talk about the things that are on our mind. Whereas, like,
Instead of just pushing it away or whatever.
yeah, instead of like, oh, let's, I gotta do this, or, even another.
Or instead of just accepting like silence.
Yeah, exactly. In a normal, that's what I was just about to say. In like a normal conversation, if this camera wasn't here and all these microphones weren't here, we might have 10 minutes where we're just like looking at our phones or something, because that's how we are these days, and it's like.
Anybody could talk like this all the time.
yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like it's proving the fact that like we're all like humans are an amazing species. Like we can do crazy things, and just our conversations can like inspire and promote crazy things, if not just like fucking entertain you. Shit, that's like really what it comes down to. If you don't get anything else out of this podcast, you probably laughed at least once, or you thought we were stupid and you laughed because of that. And I don't care if that's the case. Like, if that's the case, so be it. But it's...
If you got something out of it, I'm happy.
This isn't like... I don't know. A lot of people think, like, I'm trying to, like, start... I don't know, something more than it is. I really just... It's about society more than it's about, like, money and shit. Like, this isn't going to make me a ton of money. It could possibly make me money, depending on how I make it. Like I said, there's plenty of opportunities, but... I don't know. I just feel
That's
like
not the main goal.
More people should do stuff like this. It's super easy to do. It didn't take a whole lot of money to start, and like
people have webcams and shit.
Yeah,
They have
you got
laptops.
a laptop. I could be doing this on one webcam right now.
Get your
Like,
friends
my
together,
laptop.
set up your laptop, just record it.
And it sounds so stupid when you say it like that. And like I would even think that before I knew what podcasts could do. But literally, that's all you need to do, provided that you're comfortable putting yourself out there like that. And some people aren't, and that's fine. I don't care, though. And the possibilities for what a podcast can do for just yourself, let alone other people, totally worth it.
Yeah, I'd rather do something like this than sit on my phone for like 2 hours any day.
That's what I mean. And what do people do every day?
What
I
do
guarantee
people
you.
do when they fucking hang out with each other?
I know.
Scream.
Oh my
That's
god,
it.
that's
Just
a very
watch,
good
sit
point.
there and look at their fucking phones. It's
Look
like,
at their phones.
What, am
or
I
they,
not fucking interesting enough for you?
Yeah.
exactly.
You can like you're sitting on your phone on like probably Facebook or some sort of social media, contacting with other people. You have a person sitting right next to you. You can fucking touch their face.
Yeah, a tangible being.
And
we met up to hang out, and then you pulled your phone out and started talking to some other dude.
that's what I'm saying.
What?
It's like, wow, this is fun. This is what socializing's become.
Or it's like, how much stimulation do you fucking need, dude? You know what I'm saying?
Society is just it's just so crazy at this point. You can't really come back from it at this, like, you know, from how as a whole we are. You can't even come back from it. We're stuck, man.
It's gonna take a couple generations. It's like
If
fucking.
we just immediately started focusing on that, but we're not.
Yeah,
It's
we're
like
definitely
focused
gonna
on
take a
so
big
many
jump.
things.
it's like fucking like domesticating dogs. It's like it didn't happen over one generation. It happened over
Exactly.
like 10.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's how long it takes for like inherited like
By the time it
behavior to
happens,
change.
you ain't gonna know because you're
You're
gonna be
be
dead.
for like 2 or 3 generations.
Yeah.
Probably.
At least.
The first dog that was ever domesticated compared to like the most domesticated dog, they never saw each
Well,
other.
what, you think dogs were always like the size of, like, you know,
Up herd.
This-
Little pupsters?
yeah, no. We never had Shih Tzus, we had wolves.
Yeah.
How
Never
so
had
on
hot
that,
dogs.
How ballsy was the first caveman to walk up to a fucking
A wolf.
and be
Just
like,
like rear naked choke it like you're my pet.
I don't know, man. They probably had to like start by like feeding them
And do
somehow.
what, though?
Yeah.
Well, what was the first, like, like, crossbreed interaction?
They probably.
What do you think it was?
First, what happened was they probably killed an animal. They probably kept killing animals, and the wolves probably learned that if they followed the humans, that there was going to be dead animals when they went on hunts. So eventually, the humans started giving them some of the meat, and by that, it probably was like this thing where there was like this kind of like trust, and then the humans
just formed
probably
a
started
bond.
following the wolf. It was probably like this thing about like eating. The humans would like eat the rest of the wolf carcasses or whatever, like whatever wolves killed, they would eat the rest of it, and then whatever like the humans eat, the wolves were so they would be near each other a lot.
It's like a mutual gain for both species.
Yeah, it's almost
Well,
like
I'm saying, like, how did, like, what provoked the first wolf to
Yeah.
mate with something else, and what the hell was it?
what do you mean?
Like, why do we have dogs that only get this big now?
Oh, I think
How
that's a
did
good question.
that's what I? How
Selective
did that
breeding.
start?
It's selective breeding.
But how with what?
different wolves from different
So just different
parts of the
species of wolf,
those, like
types?
different parts of the planet, probably.
Okay.
But that's weird.
That's a
Yeah,
good
I don't know
point.
how you'd get like.
Yeah,
the
that's
smallening of it.
that's the most curious thing to me.
I
about
think
it.
it's literally like when animals become domesticated, though they literally stay in like fetal form. Like it's like a weird thing. Like pigs.
just the chemistry inside.
if
them
you like,
changes.
if you have like a pig, like and it's just domesticated this whole life, it almost stays in this like fat, like stupid form.
Okay,
If
yeah.
you let like a wild, like a normal like pig, as long as it's not like too fucked
a
up,
wild,
yeah.
like a wild
You just
boar or
or
something.
no, you just take like a pig that's like
A
domesticated
domesticated, you
pig and
set
just
it
like
out.
it's
Oh,
literally,
yeah.
it's gonna start growing tusks. That's one of the first
It's
things
gonna,
that
yeah,
happen.
it's gonna have to adapt with.
It literally will start growing tusks.
Yep.
That's the craziest thing about pigs is like as soon as they get out and they're undomesticated, they start like they'll get the hair. You know what I'm saying? If you
Yep.
ever look at a boar, they have a
Wild
bunch
boar,
of
yeah.
hair on their back.
Yep.
You look at a domesticated pig and they're just like these bald little fucking idiots with no like tusks or like way to
That's
defend
exactly,
themselves.
Yeah, that's exactly what a pig is.
It's like they stay like fetal, so maybe after that for a while they just like the wolves just start like
So interesting.
getting
man.
smaller and
It's
smaller.
like we realized one day, way back when, that like pigs are great food. So we started just like keeping them, and like breeding them like manually breeding them so that we could have like the food. And now all of a sudden they don't even grow the same. Now all of a sudden they don't grow the two things that we wouldn't use. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
I seen this wild. I don't know if this is real. So if anyone out there wants to Google this, please Google it. If you don't believe
could
me,
be Facebook.
yeah,
myths,
that's what I'm saying. But I seen like there was like a, I don't know if it was ISIS, but it was like one of those things in like India, like not good people compound, like terrorist compound, like in somewhere around there, like Iran. I don't even know the exact. You guys gotta Google this. And basically, like, they said like wild pigs like took over this like compound. Like they kind of like were there.
Shit, man.
Not
That'd
like
be
took
scary.
over. Like they moved into the area and like
Yeah.
they're not
There's
like
just so
letting
many.
they're not letting anyone come back in. And it's like that they were.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hope it's real. It's like fucking
hope it's
America
real.
pigs.
Just some all the hunters that are into like pig hunting, like wild boar hunting and shit.
Hunt 'em.
They just didn't like catch the interest yet. It's like so they were able to survive for a while. But don't worry, once that happens.
Dude, I wouldn't want to fuck with a wild boar, dude. I'll tell you what.
Oh, they're scary. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories of hunters that that's a dangerous thing to
It's
do.
like a wolf.
Yeah, they're
kinda.
fucking strong.
I think it's worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I think it's
saying.
worse. It's like it's twice as heavy. You know, you're talking about like this giant
They're
like
vicious. They got tusks and
like
shit.
wolves. I feel like they might be a little bit more like mobile. You know, they could probably they might be more agile. But like wild boars, they're still pretty freaking agile, and they're like really
It's like a
lot
2-foot
bigger.
tall battering ram coming at you.
Exactly. Yeah, they're a lot heavier.
I don't even. It's probably just gonna start taking chunks out of you.
Oh yeah, they're vicious.
That's
man.
probably what's just gonna. It's just start biting and like, dude, with those tusks and just starts trying to like stab you and shit.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna just try to ram you and then like tear you apart and then ram you and tear you apart.
If you go down, it's probably just gonna try and stomp you or something.
Oh my god, yeah, it would trample you.
You gotta like, so it's like fighting a wrestler. You gotta like be real low and like waiting for that guillotine. You just gotta
I
guillotine.
don't know, man. I don't think you'd be strong enough to even choke him out, man. His neck is
You
probably
gotta
a
Peruvian
fucking boss.
necktie it then. You gotta necktie it. As soon as it comes charging in, you gotta get that around the neck. You gotta scoop that one arm, and you just gotta sit back with it.
His response was, "But you just ain't using the right choke, man."
You're gripping it wrong.
Or maybe try to step over and get that Kimura, snap one of them legs off. and
I'd
run
be
away.
trying to like jump on its back and hold the tusks. I'm riding that thing.
Oh my god, yeah. If you just ride it, then you're good.
That's like, yeah, and just wait until it's tired.
Battle
Climb a
pig.
tree. How about that? There's no way it's climbing a tree. It's
True.
hooves.
Hoofs.
Hooves. How do you say that? Hooves.
Hooves.
Hooves? Do you say hooves or hooves
Hoofs.
or huffs?
Pennsylvania terminology. Hoofs.
That's like, is it water or water?
Water or water? It's totally water. If you say water, that's just wrong.
Yeah.
Take a nice big glass of water.
Water.
I say water.
You see? You had to say it in a sentence first.
But if you're gonna go swimming, you're gonna swim in the water.
Wait.
If you're gonna drink, you're gonna go.
No,
You're gonna
hold
drink
up.
some water,
Wait, so you're telling me that you say both
probably.
based on the verb in front of it? Are you fucking
If I'm
kidding
gonna
me?
go swimming, I'm gonna go swimming in the water. If I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna drink some water. No, I say water. I just try to say it like as like candid as I possibly could, and I think it's both water.
Accents, man. It's some shit. Oh my god.
But
English language is just nutty.
it's too
Makes
much.
no sense.
There's too many rules from too.
There's
it's-
too many rules. That's what it is. There's we as Americans, we were just no.
we
'cause
took
shit.
we like absorbed like a shit ton of different rules from a bunch of different languages,
We did,
and that's
yeah.
what fucked us up.
I mean, English all like stems from Latin, but like, yeah, you
Every
and then
romantic
plus this
language.
rule, plus that rule, and then and I forgot about this rule. Oh, and then accept this, and
And then this
Yeah.
person re-edited it and added these rules.
the church.
oh my, dude, that's something that's always bothered me. It's like, hey, this is a free country. You could pick your religion and all that, but we base everything off of this one religion. So it's like, yeah.
I just mean back in the day, like Dark Ages and shit, like how much influence the church had over like the entire like
Oh yeah.
planet, basically. That's crazy.
Just the fact that the Vatican has like 50 miles of underground tunnels
fact
and
that
stuff
Vatican's
that nobody
its
can
own
go
country.
in. Yeah, that too.
The fact
Yeah, the
that
Vatican is very
can
crazy.
decide its own
Very
laws.
mysterious.
It's an entire. We're getting into like Scientology shit. I always like go to say sociology or something.
Sociology.
It's like a fucking class.
I
It's like
hated
the
that
science
class.
It's like not as complex as what we're talking about.
Mm-mm.
If you took it in high school, it's not as crazy as what we need.
The Vatican's the smallest country in the world,
I bet.
like by square foot
Shouldn't
or whatever.
even be a fucking
Square
country
mile.
in my opinion.
That's just like DC isn't technically the U.S.
Yeah.
So it's a province or whatever.
Well, yeah, because it's a what the is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Providence. Yeah, because it's not a state, so therefore it's not a part. Yeah, it's so stupid how we do shit.
In DC, man, DC's a wacky, dude.
DC. I went to
It's a
DC
wacky-
for a school trip, and then
Never been
also
there.
without
I've
it's
been
like
there,
what
like,
the fuck.
7 times, probably.
A lot of stuff to see if like you're in that part of it, but
Hmm
if you're not,
But it's just weird, dude. The whole like, you can tell they tuck the ghettos in the back.
yes,
That's the
what
weirdest,
I mean.
dude. Like, you driving up into DC, you're like, holy shit, look at this place, and then you'll just be like, nice houses, ghetto. It's like, whoa, what just happened? We went 1 block.
Dude, that's time travel.
Uh-huh. It's nutty,
Oh,
dude. They
shit.
tuck it in the back, though. They're good at it. They designed that city well. I'll tell you what. They didn't just, like, randomly, like, put shit, like, where it is. And there's crazy, like, I remember I walked around in fucking DC with my one buddy, and fucking, there's, like, this old park that's, like, fenced off, and I was just like, what's going on with this park? Like, it's, like, this giant, like, area, and it looked like a park. I don't think it was a park. And I was like, what's going on with this area? And he's just like,
a PA park.
no, it looked like yeah. And he's just like, I don't know, man. This whole place is like, fuck it. It looked like almost like an old, like, it was definitely like an old military, like, installation or something.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on at
Shit.
in that spot? And it was just completely fenced off from, like, we just walked by it, and I was just like, what's going on here? He's just like, I don't know. He can't, like, get in there. I was just like, okay.
Oh, okay.
And I've been on the streets before where I was basically told, like, if you, like, go on these streets, like, you have, like, a sniper, like, aiming at you and shit.
What the
Holy shit.
fuck?
Yeah. Like,
Oh,
if you get near
shit.
the Capitol and shit, like, it's, like, basically, like, at least not like a sniper, but it's like somebody's watching you right now.
They told us that on the field trip.
Mhm.
Well, because that was outside of our map. We weren't even supposed to. It was like a free roam kind of thing, but we weren't supposed to go outside.
Yeah, nobody's
of that.
aiming a gun at your head, but somebody's definitely
But
watching.
they
you.
they made it a point though to say like, you're not supposed to be outside of this map, but
Don't try to go through any gates.
especially don't go that way because like, they explained that a bit.
Yeah, man.
That's
don't
crazy.
fuck around, dude.
No, I mean
And especially when we got near the Capitol, I heard a bunch of shit, man. It's just like,
yeah,
don't fuck around the Capitol.
yeah. I mean, and they shouldn't fuck around. That should be.
No, that's definitely what they
It
need
almost
to do.
shouldn't even be a tourist area. You know what I'm saying? Like it should almost just be like.
I wonder
this
if that's
is-
a thing in other countries. Like, oh yeah, let's just make our capital like a giant tourist attraction.
But if you get anywhere near the actual building, you better be
That's
careful.
probably way more intense in other countries.
I know, that's what I'm saying. We're
Imagine
trying to open
get
it up.
near to Putin's like fucking like
Yeah.
embassy.
Castle.
Do they even have tourist attractions like that? You know what I'm saying? Like
Who goes to Russia to view
Exactly.
the sites?
Do we want to know what our previous president did? Do we want to go see his do they even have statues for his
I remember it was crazy the one time I went to DC and I went up on what's the big pillar thing? The Washington Monument?
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
the big pillar.
with the point.
We went up there the one time when the president, it was Obama at the time, was going to the White House. They had everything locked down hardcore.
Oh.
And we were up watching like the president. I was just like, dude, this would be like
Oh,
the best
damn.
place to get to.
That's
I feel like I was
crazy.
going to take him out. But there's probably like already security scans.
Oh,
as you
yeah,
get
they were already beat.
Yeah.
They already scoped that out.
I just remember, and like we were just watching, like we didn't actually see the president like coming up, but we just looked at and saw all the fucking roads like blocked off, and you see a bunch of, you don't see people, but you just see black
Yeah.
Like you just
a
see
line
like,
of black. Yeah.
and those are
exactly.
dudes like in black suits,
Uh-huh.
like with like AK-47s like in their vest. Like that was pretty cool to watch though. Like that's when it kind of like set in. And I was like, whoa, dude, they take this shit seriously.
CIA don't fuck around.
Yeah, they had everything locked down, hardcore, like tight. There was no like even like civilians like near that shit, and there was like every block there was just like a line of fucking like CIA agents, probably with like MP5s, like
Oh,
ready
yeah.
to blast anyone in the face.
So last time I was in New York, I don't know what was even going on. I don't think anything was even going on. I think in a different country, I think something was going on. But they had like SWAT team members essentially just like standing around Times Square just for the hell of it. Like
Well, they probably
just
want to
walk.
keep those guys on.
Well, no,
call,
they're not
yeah.
all. No. They're not always there. That's what I'm saying. I've been to New York plenty of times, and there's not normally SWAT teams patrolling
Maybe that
Times
was like
Square.
that's kind of sketchy. Maybe that was a day where they thought something was gonna go down.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like I didn't know of anything specific.
They wouldn't
but
tell
like
you guys.
randomly, like I was, obviously we didn't look at something like that before we went. It was like a planned trip, and we went up there. All of a sudden, like just like a squared, like a coned off area of like these 10 like SWAT team like M4s in their hands, just like on post.
Maybe they just knew
It
it
was
was a
just-
day where they knew a lot of people were gonna be there.
And the
Was it a holiday or anything?
no, I don't think so. It was close. I'm assuming we probably went around Christmas, but it wasn't like on the holiday. We never would have done that. But yeah, even like there's a police station, like a very small police station with
On
with-
Times Square?
in the middle of Times Square.
That's
yeah,
crazy. That's good.
and it inside it's like the tiniest little building, but obviously they have like there's some cops in there and stuff. But right inside they have like this like display case of part of like a piece of the World
World
Trade
Trade.
Center, and you couldn't even get in there that day. I've been in that building. I've been in that police station to look at that.
They wouldn't let you in.
And they wouldn't even let you in that day. They wouldn't even let you like on the sidewalk
They
around the
thought
police
something
station.
was gonna go down.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but if something even the tiniest bit that you could never know about is wrong or like even suspected, they go crazy in spots like that.
Well, they have the colors and shit like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yep.
it was like the nation was at like a hard like a
Orange.
red or,
Yeah, it
or
could-
whatever the
exactly.
fuck it was.
It
I
could
think it's
be
like
anything.
orange and then red's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
ever
think there's
since
black.
ever
I think
since
black is
9/11.
nuclear, like
Yeah.
threat of
No, we're
nuclear
fucked.
devastation.
even ever since 9/11 though, I mean, New York is constantly constantly patrolled by helicopters and also they don't mess around whatsoever anymore.
Well, they know even if it's not
Airports and-
terrorists, they know how much crime is there.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, but I'm saying like they never like patrol. I mean, 24/7. There's a helicopter patrolling New York
That's what I
City.
bet.
And, like the sky tops, like down to infrared detection. They're
Those
checking
helicopters
everything.
get shot at.
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy in such a public
They
place.
fly over bad areas, they'll like legit get shot at and shit. That's how crazy it gets, man. In different cities, you don't want to be in bad parts.
And that's what I'm saying. There's some like bad parts of you say New York, you typically don't think of like a good thing, but it depends. All right, it depends.
There's bad parts of Philly where the trash companies won't go anymore because
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's parts of like good cities that are not anything close to good.
Yeah, you're either gonna get one of two
Slums.
reactions, like, oh, okay, the New York or the New York.
You could think of the nice tall buildings, or you could think of like all the death.
Yeah.
It's like it's one way or the other. You're probably not going in the middle.
Yeah, you either think of shopping or like gangs.
It's like- oh shit.
you wouldn't know how prevalent gangs are anymore. I really don't know what I'm talking about, but like it doesn't even seem like.
I think they're more prevalent than you think, but I think
It's
they
less like flying colors.
But
I
no,
don't-
I remember I always heard about like gangs and shit. I heard gangs are like an older thing because nowadays like everybody's just like.
I just don't think they have enough respect anymore. Back
Yeah.
in the day, they had so much more respect by people who feared them. Nowadays, I think that respect has gone way downhill.
Yeah, it's a lot less
You-
with like colors and being like an affiliation. It's more just like like
acting.
crews of people rolling
It's just
together.
acting
Yeah.
in that certain way. That's what I heard. Like I remember, like just hearing things about like old like gangsters or talk about like the new gangsters and like you just hear like an old gangster talking about new gangsters. It's like
Yeah, it's become
they're
so
all
mainstream.
wild. Like that's they're literally just like it's not gonna be good. Like because like these kids like they won't listen to shit.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I'm
become
saying?
such a mainstream thing that like the hardcore stuff to them is just like an everyday occurrence to kids nowadays.
Getting like 10-year-old kids to kill people and shit.
Yeah.
That's like the new norm.
Yeah,
And, like
10-year-olds, 11-years fucking selling dope and shit.
I don't even like disagree with like gangs like back in the day. Like I mean like back in the day like 50s like 40s when it actually like dude like it was not like a bad thing. It was just like people like gang like forming up to like protect themselves.
In today's age, I feel like they're more of just like groups. They like
it's just
form
a gang
companies.
lifestyle.
They form a company instead of like a gang these days. Whereas like back in the day, gangs.
It was like you and a bunch of your brothers, but now like I
nowadays
mean like
they just form rap
for
groups.
they would get together for a cause. Whereas like if some people want to do that nowadays, they're like, okay, well we have this cause, let's start like this thing. You know, they make money from it, they make a living off of it. Whereas back in the day, they were just like, all right, we got this like idea, and we're the only ones that believe it. So like, let's just, you know, and they did like radical
I think
ways.
all gangs had like this back in the day had like the same motives. It wasn't like you
Similar,
believe
yeah.
something different than me, so I hate you. It's just like
but there were conflicts between
it
gangs.
was just
but
like
it's just
area. It was just all about like
territory.
you
Yeah,
come to
There
my
was- yep.
spot, I'm gonna fucking not gonna be
Territory was
happy.
a big thing.
And that's like tribal shit.
Yep.
That's like straight like my tribe versus your tribe.
Yeah.
Like
That's what it came down to. Even like the beginning of gangs and shit.
Isn't that kind of what the Olympics are? Like my tribe versus your
It's
tribe?
funny. That's funny you said it, yeah.
Yeah.
So many things are.
there's so many things that are tribe based and it's like people don't realize it. It's like you just
Pack mentality.
that's what I'm saying. Everyone wants to be a part of something. And it's like, no, you don't need to. You just need to be a part of like it all, not like the people that are around you or anything like that. You need to have. It's like they don't have enough perspective to like realize that like
Perspective is a big, like, I don't know. I feel like I can look at a lot of different perspectives, but like it just boggles my mind that some people can't even do that. Like they can't even like look at, oh, what would he think if like I did this? Like you can't like think about that. And some people can't.
Yeah.
But it boggles my mind.
you need me to like bring it up to you for you to like.
Even think about like what he would think if you were doing that. Like
That's like something that's all like
I've
always been on my
thought.
mind.
I've always, you know, and maybe that's a bad thing. Like I don't know. I've always thought about what other people think.
But not
And, like,
like in a weird way, but like
I don't. Yeah, I was just about
where
to
they
say,
come from.
My like parents were always telling me like, oh, don't worry about what people think about you, and it's like that's true. Yeah, and I don't really care.
But you
But
still got to think about the
but
other
I-
person.
But
as
I've always
like a person.
thought you gotta look at perspectives,
Yeah.
and that's what I think is wrong. They try to like. I feel like every family nowadays they're like, oh, don't think about like what people think about. Well, I think that's part of the problem. I think you have to. I think you should be thinking about what other people are thinking, like how people see things.
Yeah, because if everybody thinks you're an asshole, you're probably an asshole.
That's like, but you know, America, you know, it's like, well, you know, you're allowed to be like that, but you know, we're at a point now where we got some shitty people.
Yeah, there's a difference between being an asshole and just being an uncivilized human being.
Like, let
And
me
that's
ask a question real quick. Just like, and if you like, what was it? I had a good word. It's like, do you guys like think about other people's perspectives? Like, do you think
Nonstop.
Do you think
That's what-
being narrow-minded is a good thing? Does anyone think being narrow-minded is a good thing?
Narrow-minded, as in, like, what do you mean by narrow-minded?
Not like narrow-minded, like towards like an objective. Like narrow-minded, like
in general.
just like you have like the way you think, and
You're
you just see
thinking
a
the way you think,
and it's just
yeah,
a tunnel.
okay. No, I think it's
It's
bad.
terrible,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's
Do you think
bad
it's
for
terrible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone out there? Do you think being narrow-minded is good?
I
No.
think well, shit. If they're narrow-minded, they're gonna, you know,
The
argue
opposite
with
of
yeah,
you.
they're going to
being-
be like, fuck you, I don't care what you think.
The opposite of being narrow-minded is having a large perspective.
Open-minded.
And I think that's the best way. Being narrow-minded, it
Terrible.
opens you up to more argument, more. And I mean, it's okay. But hold on, let me say this. It's one thing to have your opinion on a perspective,
Yeah, no doubt.
but you should be able to look at the perspectives.
Yeah, you should be able to entertain it even if you don't agree with it.
Exactly, and like you should have an opinion for sure, but like there's a difference between having an opinion on a perspective and looking at the perspective.
Somebody who's narrow-minded, like if I was gonna come up to you with like a different idea, you would just like not even listen to me for like a second.
Yeah.
But someone who has like
Like
a lot of perspective, you'd be like, all right, well, tell me like where you're coming from, and then I'll make my like assumption.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect example is like podcasting. It's like to some people with a narrow mind would be like, oh, that's stupid. You're just gonna like talk to each other.
Yeah, you're just wasting time. Why don't you go out and do something? Like we're doing more than the majority.
Perfect. And then
what do you consider wasting time?
You look at if you look at a more wide angled wide perspective person, you're seeing the possibilities for it. You're seeing the influence it could have on people, the possibilities for business that we could have.
Just the expansion of conversation, like one thing just flows into the next.
Or how about it just makes me happy?
Yeah. Exactly. Because we can have a time together where we can just uninterrupted have like a good conversation about these things that we like to talk about, but we never do. Exactly. There's so many, whereas a narrow-minded person might just,
that's stupid.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, that's why I've been about this since the beginning, man. Because like I don't really see you guys too often, so come over, chill.
And it's even people that, it's funny, like I've actually talked to a couple people that like were super into this podcast idea. Okay, we're on like episode 5, right?
Yeah.
They're talking about being on it. They haven't even watched one.
Yeah.
Well, so, okay.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
You haven't even watched.
You gotta watch our podcast, but it's like you don't even watch podcasts.
You don't know what a podcast is.
Yeah. So
how the hell are you about a podcast? Exactly. And like I'm not saying, it's like I want to have conversations with people that aren't just, that aren't into like this whole podcasting thing. I'm not saying you have to be into podcasting to talk to me, but understanding the concept, understanding why I'm doing this, like I'm not the kind of person that just feels like videotaping you talking to me. Like, it's like
I'm not trying to be
I don't do this for no reason. There's a legitimate thing behind it, and I wouldn't just be doing like I was never the class clown, dude. Like I'm not gonna just be like doing this to like make a joke. Like no, I would be the only reason I'm doing this is because of how like legitimate it is and how how much of a thing it could be. It's just the possibilities, like I've been saying.
Have you like ever wanted to be a broadcaster or anything?
No, I've never thought about any of that. That's what I'm saying. If you were to ask 80% of the people out there, at least 80% of the people out there, they would tell you 100% there is no way they would have thought I would do anything like this. Because I've never wanted to even like talk in front of the class.
Yeah, I always hated that.
But I
thought it could have been possible.
Society is shitty, and I'm tired. I just hit the microphone. Society is just shitty, and I'm tired of it. It's like people don't even talk anymore. I get people talking to me, and it's like this like half language that I gotta like decode into like something that didn't even fucking matter. Like, why the hell are you wasting my time?
I hate people that end up talking to you, and then it's like 2-word sentences.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like you're not even like having a full conversation. You're not even telling me your thoughts. You're just trying to like beat around the bush until I like draw your conclusions for you, and then we're not even gonna get anywhere with the situation anyway. So
that's just like people preferring to text for like 5 hours instead of having a 10-minute conversation. Like,
yeah, no, that's stupid. I prefer to text honestly because like you're interrupting what I'm doing to have a conversation on the phone, and plus everybody around me wherever I am can hear my whole conversation, which like is privacy, depending on the conversation and all that. But at the same time, yeah, if you're having a whole like freaking
if it's
ordeal,
like an argument or like something important, it's easier to just call.
You just do it in person. Yeah, that would be the best way.
Like if I want like a legitimate answer out of somebody, I'll call them. Or like if I ever like, I don't feel like fucking beating around a bush with you. Like like,
if it's like a time pressing matter or something.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know. There's a lot of things that could be like misconstrued through like a text message that like won't be when you just talk to somebody.
That's what always happens to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I hate. This is a weird thing, but like. Fucking how Facebook Messenger, like when you send like the face with the tongue out, I always, like, whenever I sent that, it was always this kind of like this, like, oh, okay, like, the conversation kind of got, like, sad almost a little bit, but, like, in, like, not, like, a super sad way. But now if you sent, like, the tongue with the face out, it sends, like, a happy. So I've
It's,
literally
like,
done this
winking.
to a couple people where, like, they send me, like, a sad, kind of, like, with, like, a sad tone to it. And I'll send him, like, this message back with the tongue out. And it's, like, this, like, happy dude, like, sticking his tongue out. I'm like, that is not what I was trying to... And, like, it's happened to me probably, like, 3 times. Where I sent, like, the tongue out guy. And it's, like, not like the... Not trying to construe what I was trying to say at all. And it fucked up my messages, like, 3 times.
Emojis, man. Some of them are bad.
Oh yeah.
Some of them are just... Yeah, you type it and it's like, oh, that wasn't the face I made.
That's like how it like turns the actual face into like a real face. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It fucked me up, man.
That's hilarious.
But if I would just called the person, it would never happen.
No, it wouldn't have. It's funny, yeah. Text messaging, like, just one sentence could be taken
The
3
tone
different ways
of
in a
it.
text message. Yeah, the tone, the attitude in it. But if you say it in a call, like, they know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know. Podcasting is just one of, we talked about it before in other podcasts even, but it's just, I just don't think people understand the importance, like, not the importance of it. It's not important. It's not like something you got to do, but it's like, it's
What it could be.
a helpful thing. It's like it's got very much potential, and there's just so many options, and people aren't understanding that. The people that were like the most into it are like off the grid now. They're like nowhere to be found, and it's like, you should be calling me if you were that into it. The way you seemed, the way they seemed, these people would be calling me off the hook to get in on this podcast. But instead, you got people that are like, that seemed that into it, but now are like ignoring a message from me or something like that. And it's just like, well, so did you actually, like, and why is this? That's the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing. Why is this any different from me saying, hey, let's hang out? You would have said yes. You would have done anything else with me, but I asked you to come over, do a podcast or something, and people are just like, they don't answer, or like, they have an excuse. It's like, what?
Just relax, dude.
People, they're not understanding what this is, and I want to really try to convey that, but it's really hard to do with 5 podcasts. I need, we got to get up there.
100.
People are watching it, and, even if nobody was watching it, it's normal. We're not doing something crazy where, like, we're trying to impress people. This is everyday conversation for anybody. Like, we're just doing what everybody does already.
I bet everyone has like the same fucking even better conversations than we have, but they
I'm
don't
sure a
put
lot
it on
better,
the
yeah.
fucking internet.
Exactly. I'm sure a lot better conversations than we have. We're fucking like stupid half the time, but it's making like stupid jokes. But yeah, people do this kind of thing every day. We're just like posting it. We're trying to teach you the things that we learn. We're trying to just show you the things that we see. Like, shit, just share the jokes with you. I don't care. But I feel like people are misunderstanding that concept, and like getting intimidated by the fact that it's like a video, like an online like posting.
Yeah. As soon as a camera and microphones get involved, everybody's just like overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, but it's weird because they seem into it at first, but then like to actually like set up a time to do it is like a different thing.
Yeah, it hits
And
them
I've
and it's like
seen that.
stage fright.
Yeah, and I've seen that with a lot of different people, and like, I get it, but it's like,
The most outgoing person will not want to like.
the most outgoing people even is just like, they shut down when it comes to like, hey, come over to actually do this.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, I think I left the stove on.
It's like people's like biggest fear, like people. It's like a bigger fear over like death and shit. It's like people.
It's
like,
subconscious, too.
Public talking, like that's like one of the biggest fears like of people is like speaking in front of other people. It's like why?
And it's
I mean, I understand why, but
I know a lot of people that are like, they have no problem talking in front of people, but like in this particular situation, it's like a stage fright almost, and it's
where they're being recorded and they could be like,
I don't know what it is.
it's like stand by what you say. It's like they don't want to like they're like almost afraid
Yeah.
to like stand by
Just
what
don't-
they say.
Yeah, just don't bullshit me.
Yeah.
Like talk real, and I mean you don't have anything to worry about.
Mhm.
If you're like a fucking
They're like afraid to like let their opinions fly or whatever. You know
yeah,
what I'm
I don't
saying?
know what
Afraid
it
that
is,
someone's gonna disagree with it. And
I
like,
just-
oh, it looks stupid.
You know, I
They're
just
supposed
really
to
want to,
disagree.
and I kind of hope, both of you, I'm hoping will kind of, promote or at least, encourage. I should say, the idea of like, just like, doing it. Like, it's not a big thing. It's just, we're just hanging out,
Yeah.
and that's all I want. It seems like such a little thing, but it's gonna turn into a much bigger thing and a better habit. See, the thing about like our area, like all the friends, that we hang out with, it's like we talk in this way that like we understand because like I don't know, they're like half sentences and like half like, oh, I'm gonna make fun of this, and then
Just slang terms that
yeah,
we came up
just
with.
a bunch of slang and like I don't even know, but like we're not actually talking. We're just making each other laugh and like all this shit, but we don't actually know each other as well as we think we do.
Yeah.
We don't
No.
we don't know what we're about as much as we think we do. I've already had a couple conversations with people who
Half my friends
Who I'm
don't even
friends
know
with.
like fucking their opinions on things because
that's
they've
what I mean.
given me so many fucking retarded like fucking like I'll ask about something to be like, yo, what are you trying to do? I don't know, rob a bank or something. It's like
some bullshit, yeah, just to like make a joke
okay,
because like you don't know, but it's like
it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like
all that bullshit is what's caused like our lack of communication, and I mean that for humanity, not just
Okay.
like our friend group. Like what's the
think this is-
primary cause of bad relationships? Communication. It's like we don't talk right. We don't at all, and I think it's a huge problem. I don't think that's a problem. It is a huge problem, and it's not. It's fixed by a very simple thing, just talking. Like realizing the difference between what we do and an actual like one-on-one conversation, or not one-on-one, just a good conversation. We have too many conversations where we get like halfway through like in depth to something and we're just like, oh,
Yeah.
but okay.
Yeah,
So
it's really hard to have
back to real
intelligent
life.
conversation anymore. Like,
yeah, it
this
really
is the first time I've talked to somebody for more than like 5 minutes in weeks.
it's like, yeah.
it's refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean.
It's
You
like a-
just you can just let go. I don't know, like let go. I'm saying like if you had something bottled up that you really wanted to talk about, this would be a great time to do it. But even if you don't, it's like there's so many just little bullshit things that are you just like find and like people about other people or about like your job or shit, anything. Anybody could be doing this. I don't care. Like I just happen to be the one that got a bunch of microphones and the equipment to do it, but
inspired.
I'm truly inspired. I would never have done this if it wasn't for another podcast very similar to this one, but a lot more advanced. Like it inspired me in more than just the podcast way. It's
Financially, it's like
communication
life.
ways, financially, like physically, in workout ways, like just people. And I'm not like I'm talking about a specific podcast that one person hosts, but like he's not, that one person wasn't the only person that inspired me. It's just the idea of the podcast, the idea of the conversations, other people on the podcast. It's just, and more than one podcast even. It's just, there's so many things of like real world, like
Yeah, there's so much possible growth that you can gain from it.
yeah, like personally, and then let alone like in your friend group or just in your life. You can change your life with a podcast.
Yeah.
That's like it's crazy to think like a simple podcast, whereas normally back in the day you might have had to go see like a freaking psychologist to like understand like communication properly, and like now you can just watch some podcasts. You'll understand it fine. You'll be good. You can communicate.
Most of the podcasts I watch.
You
it's
just
like,
have to motivate yourself to like actually be into it. You can't like half-ass shit.
you gotta like commit to something.
Exactly. You gotta commit to it.
It's like most of the podcasts I watch. It's like most of the guys, like they don't talk about like, oh, I make so much money off my podcast or like
No.
anything like
Oh my
this.
god.
It's
not
just
about
literally- They're just all like so happy, just like have it and like have people like that they're friends with or like interesting people that are like in their lives that they watch or whatever. Like now I get to like have conversations with these people and like a legitimate like conversation. Like it's called long form conversations,
Yeah.
and it's like basically where you're like committed to like talking to another person, not like committed to like hanging out and like doing whatever we do. It's like just like committed to like talking to me about
finishing a thought, or to finishing that conversation. That's a big problem where, like, in a normal situation where, not on a podcast, you're talking to somebody and it's like, that guy just had to interrupt you because he was like squeezing by you, and then it stopped the conversation. Or like, maybe you just got to a point where like you realized that it wasn't like related to what you were doing in life right now, so you just decided to stop. Well, no, this like commits you to like, hey, let's like have a full conversation, like your full thoughts on this subject, or like let's talk completely about this thing and like understand it entirely. And this isn't just about like bullshitting our like off the mind ideas. Like, we can like look shit up, we can learn stuff, we can find things out and get into them, in more in depth than we ever would if we weren't thinking about it in this type of situation, in this environment.
Yeah, like having a conversation with you guys could definitely spark something for me that I would be like, oh, I never knew about this, and like look it up and like have a new interest.
Yeah, exactly. And that's happened.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I just started jiu-jitsu, and it's like I never would have done that if I didn't see the podcast, like this one podcast that I started watching. I don't think I would have watched podcasts if it wasn't, and he's the one that showed me the podcast. I didn't even know what a podcast was. I heard of it.
Yeah.
I never knew what the hell it was. I didn't even know it was a video. Like, if I had to give the slightest description of a podcast, I'd been like, I don't know.
Is a podcast like
I
a
stumbled into
Dreamcast?
podcast.
It's like something on the internet, I think. That's what I would have said.
I stumbled upon it.
Yeah, that's crazy, and it's such a great thing. And he showed me this one podcast in particular, and now it's like it's changed so many things about my life in such a positive way. And that's just one podcast, like in one person.
Same. If anything beneficial happens, it's a good thing. I like
Absolutely.
when people are happy. Or
People,
like
yeah. Well,
they
there's just a
learn
lot of
or
unhappiness.
laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unhappiness and like uncomfortability in like the world today, in like people's lives, like day-to-day lives.
That's what I hear about a lot of podcasts too. It's like this refreshing thing that you can actually hear. Like you watch the news or like anything like that, and you see people reading scripts.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and most of the time they're reading scripts about like these horrible events that happened and shit. And it's just like,
yeah, like why do you always focus on the negative? Like what happened positive in our area today?
I'm gonna talk about what's on my head mostly more than anything. So it's just like, I'm not going to sit here and talk about negative shit. I'm not going to sit here and talk about positive shit. I'm not going to, like, sit here and, like, try to feed you any bullshit. It's just, like,
shit.
It's just whatever I think. It's, like, whatever it's on my head.
Exactly,
And if
yeah.
it's on my head, it's probably on somebody else's head.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're never alone. Whatever's on your mind, it's on somebody else's mind.
Yeah, without a
And
doubt.
the fact that we're posting this to the world, it's definitely on somebody else's mind that could potentially be watching this. But like along with what you just said, it's like even if you are like filled of negative thoughts, like those are still like you still talk about them. Like just those negative thoughts might help people. A conversation about that negative thing might help somebody to overcome it or avoid it.
Yeah.
Or it might just help them understand it. Help understand what other people are going through or something like that.
Yeah, it's always good just to get stuff off your chest and like get another person's perspective on things.
Exactly, yeah. Even just venting. There's simple problems, day-to-day problems. The most important part about that is just talking about it. If you don't talk about it at all and you just keep it inside, like you said, it tends to be a lot worse. It's, obviously like psychologists and, therapists and shit, they're all, they know all about, how important that is. So.
Yeah. I used to bottle stuff up, but like I don't know. I'd rather just talk to my friends about it and have them have my back over something stupid and be like, "Yo, you got this, man."
Yep. Yeah, I used to have communicate. I think we all have communication issues just like we were saying, like in a simple like just a friend group. there's people that like don't even communicate in the right. It's like, what do you want to do? Oh,
Yeah. I don't know. What do
I
you
don't
want
know.
to do?
It's like, why did you just say I don't know? You have an idea in your mind, and it's like 90% of the times people have these thoughts, but they just don't say them.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to get people to be honest and just open with themselves anymore.
And that's the main thing. If you're not open with yourself, you don't even know what it's like to be open to somebody else. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of the issue. Like, that's part of the thing I'm trying to do here. It's like, I want you to know where you stand, and then we can talk about like, everything else.
Yeah, like if you can't embrace your own thoughts and like make the initiative to go for it, then nobody else is gonna do it for you.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta get somewhere yourself. You gotta apply yourself. I don't know. Some people are just too. It's like Zach was saying a little bit earlier. Like, people are so like just in the zone of what they do every day. They're just, conversation with somebody else about something that they don't care. I don't know. It's like some things are just so out there to people, but you don't have to be the one to podcast. But
They don't want to step outside
society
their
is
comfort zone.
crazy. I don't know. It's just there's so many different types of people, but I think that alone is something to talk about. How many different types of people there are. What we all influence each other. So if I'm one type of person, I'm influencing somebody who's another type of person, even though they might not agree with anything that I agree with. And that's what makes society. And society's not great.
It's like the people who are willing to like step outside their comfort zones and like
Yeah.
actually say what they're thinking, so like other people could be like, yeah, that's what I've been thinking for a long ass time, but I just haven't had the balls to say it. Like,
Yeah, and that happens a lot in any public kind of, group. There's some people that say what they think, and some people that just wait for the other people to say what they think. Yeah.
some people say what they think because other people think what they say.
Yeah. yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that made sense.
And everything in
but I hope it
between.
does.
Exactly. Yeah, there's absolutely. No, I really want, I guess my main point about like this whole conversation about this podcast thing is I feel like people are like shying away from it like the further we get into it. But it's like, they were super into it before it started, and now that it's like five podcasts in, they're like shying away. It's like, why? Like, I can hang out with the same person and not do a podcast, and it's fine. But hanging out with them to do a podcast is like something different, and it
I could
shouldn't
hang
be.
out with a person for 4 hours one-on-one, but ask them to do a 45-minute podcast.
Yeah, a half-hour podcast. It's just like they're like, oh no, I'm busy. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like they're like intimidated by having.
It's
like,
okay. It's
Oh
like,
God, I like have a commitment here.
yeah, and oh my god, that's the other thing. Is like, when
committing to a commitment.
when I first started this, it was kind of the thing where, like, okay, let's start these podcasts, and we were like, okay, yeah, let's do that. It's like, okay, so are we gonna do that tomorrow, or like the next day, or what? And it's because nobody like jumped. I expected how many people were into it. I expected people to jump forward, and then all of a sudden it was like nobody like jumped. And
I was
like,
skeptical for a second.
oh, I think
Everybody was.
every single person was, yeah. Shit.
Shane, were you skeptical
I
for a
thought-
second?
I was skeptical. I was honestly like really surprised that you got everything put together as fast as you did.
And-
Well, you didn't see like the tech or like the putting together. That's like a different like.
I
Yeah,
saw the
no, it
picture
took
of
a
like
long
when you
time.
first got the table and everything built, and I was like,
Yeah.
damn, like I didn't expect things to go this
Me and
quick.
Frank
at all.
built this shit in one
It's
day.
funny, like to tell the story for those of you who like are interested in it, like
Frank jumped into it and he
of
like,
how this started. Yeah, it turned from okay, so I was watching this podcast, I realized the potential,
You want?
and then I realized that okay, so to go back even farther, I guess, because I guess I didn't really go into that before I
What was your first thought?
Yeah. What was my first? Okay. So, before you even showed me that first podcast I ever saw, I had been looking into a lot of like online marketing and just online. I mean, I guess it started with just ways of making money online. Obviously anybody's gonna be looking into that at some point, just because like if there's any legit way to do it.
Frankie, or Tom, as the fucking civilians know him. He's an entrepreneurial type. He's a wide thinker.
I like to do a lot of different things, and the main thing is like
he's a progressive guy.
It's a progressive guy. I have progressive insurance. Does that matter?
Yeah, definitely.
If you have a gecko.
He's sponsored by some little. Yeah, that's what I was trying.
Right, no, so anyway, it's just. What was I saying anyway? Shit, fucking lost my train of thought. Yeah, so the podcast, it inspired me in a lot of different ways, just for what podcasts could do, and all that, and how like successful this one in particular was. And just the other people on it, they're more famous people, so obviously, and who do a lot of different athletic things and all different sorts of things. But so obviously those individual things inspired me in different ways. But the podcast in itself inspired me in a way that just in the conversation point of view, like the reason why I'm doing this, like how this room is the environment, or we can do that kind of thing. That one podcast inspired me to do that, and it's changed a lot. There's a lot of different people on that podcast that have inspired me to do other things, to even just think different ways.
I've been watching podcasts for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've been at it longer than I have.
Changed a lot of things. It's like, I don't know. This is like when the person's like you're watching a podcast about somebody and you're almost going through a journey of like life with them, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like you're watching this person like as long as it's like you're watching like good people. It's like if you're just watching a podcast with like retarded people, that
was the thing. The people on it were I respected them,
and it's like you want to go through a journey with them. You want to hear their points of view. You want to and that it like inspires you. If they're doing positive things, like it inspires you to do positive things. And then just the way that like they were talking was just like, I was like, that's a completely different like thing that I've been exposed to.
And with what you're saying there, it's like their conversations. I think this is what you mean, like to go a little bit more in depth with it. Their conversations were to a depth that like I only ever had with like particular people at certain points of my life, and it was like some of the best conversations I've ever had, and it's something that they're doing all the time on this.
They're scheduling these amazing conversations where I'm just like, oh my god! I remember this one time where me and this dude were just talking like nobody interrupted us.
Uninterruptedly, And we were talking about this and
he had opinions, I had opinions. We were throwing
and we
shit back and forth,
stuff, and we disagreed with stuff, and those intense conversations. That's what this was inspired by.
These makes you grow.
Just that one podcast. These people are having these conversations that I thought about, and I thought about like my friend group, and I thought, we're never gonna have this in depth of a conversation unless we it's maybe one or two of us, and we're like super thinking about this thing that we really care about. Well, why can't we have that crazy of a conversation about everything?
Yeah.
Why can't we think that hard about stuff that
I know I'm surrounded by people who has fucking. I know I don't hang out with stupid people. I know that for a fact.
Exactly.
And but I know everyone around me. They like choose it, and it's just like, I know you're not stupid. You've said things to me that are like fucking thought provoking.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the fact that you don't say it to me all the time is like, are you like insulting my intelligence or like yours, or like are you like not?
I think both. Yeah, I think people just are stuck in this just this way of like anti-intelligence. They just want to live like the simplest way throughout the day.
Because everyone's so like scared of learning things from like school and shit. It's like
school is I think the way school is designed is a big problem. Yeah. That's a whole different conversation.
That's
I think.
I'm not trying to go off into that.
Yeah, that could be a podcast.
That could be a podcast in itself. Yeah. But no, I think that is a major part in like how we've developed to be in learning aspects.
I know our friend. I'm just talking about our friend group. If you guys have a different friend group, you have a different friend group.
There's a million different types of people.
That's what I'm saying. Our friend group's just like I'm surrounded by intelligent people, but it's like almost people who are like afraid
But
to be
they talk
intelligent.
to me stupid.
They're
Yeah,
afraid to be
intelligent people with
intelligent.
dull conversation.
Yeah, no, they're intelligent people who like try to act dumb because like that's just like
I remember
some
I used to be
sort
a
of way
smart
to do.
kid back in school, and then I realized like being smart wasn't the cool thing, and then like I would just like
It's
I
like-
dumbed down my like fucking like way of talking
way of-
and
yeah,
way of
see,
thinking
that's
for
what's
everyone
messed up.
around me.
People
You
act a whole
adapt.
different way just to like fit in with like with a group of
With the
people that
tribe.
shouldn't even be like part of that should have never become part of society. It just keeps going on because we let it. We gotta stop that bullshit.
It's just however you like.
It's never gonna stop. I mean, people are people, but we should have more of this type of people who understand. Like,
Everyone's capable of it.
oh, that's what I'm
That's
saying.
what I'm saying.
Everybody is.
By far. Everyone
It's the
can-
simplest concept. It's the first thing you learn, and how to talk, how to communicate. You don't even have to be
but
sophisticated
people are
to do
afraid
it.
of like throwing their like intelligence out there.
Their
They're like-
opinions, their opinion. It's not even about intelligence.
Well, they're
almost.
afraid of somebody like they say something and somebody else be like, "Yo, you're fucking stupid." It's
Yeah,
like
disagreements and like
I
yeah.
love it. Like, dude, please tell me I'm wrong, and then tell me what is right, and then I'll learn.
It's funny.
You know
so
how
many,
shocking that is.
so many of these podcasts we're probably talking about shit that like we might not have looked up and that we have no idea what we're talking. We could be completely wrong about shit,
Tell me,
and it's like not even about like telling me, but
help
it's
me
like
learn.
accepting like like we're humans. That's why I'm okay with having this free conversation, because like if I'm wrong about something, that's just part of life. That's what we do. But like at least I'm not like being an asshole about it. I'm not going to argue with you. If you're like legitimately right and you tell me like, hey, you were wrong about this, I'm going to say, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
People just always jump to being like an internet troll, like, oh, you're an idiot. Blah, blah, blah.
So
Like,
many trolls.
Yeah, like, you
so
don't have
many-
to troll somebody. Just like correct them and, like you said, like help them learn.
Yeah. I mean,
So many people are afraid of being wrong.
Mhm.
They have like a phobia of like being wrong. It's like no, it's like fucking. We've gone through like I don't know how long specifically humans have been on the earth. I was gonna say trillions of billions, but we've been on the earth for a long time. You know how many times we've been wrong about things?
Yeah.
And we've gotten to this point.
Every like hour. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
Yeah, it's
every
pretty,
minute.
It's pretty pitiful that in today's society, like someone admitting that they're wrong is like shocking to people.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Like, wow, you admit your faults.
And it
Oh my
shuts
gosh.
down people so hardcore.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Like say like I've never been like it's like I'm kind of like Charlie Sheen. As soon as I remember for a while he was just going like I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck. You know when he started giving a fuck is when the fucking paparazzi started saying he sucked a dick. I don't know what he did or not, but that's when he addressed the media. That's when he said I didn't, and that's when the media gained like fucking power over him.
Yeah.
Is because like the whole time where they're fucking with him, like he's doing coke, he's doing drugs, he's like,
Yeah, I don't care. This
you're
is what I'm
like
doing.
telling everybody something I would tell them
I would
myself.
tell it myself. Yeah.
And then
the
I don't-
second he was like scared of like what people think
they gained power.
or something, yeah, they were just like, oh, so you care about like this, like you don't want like this out, okay.
And that's like the power of words too. Like
Yeah,
how people give like
just
fucking
knowledge.
like the N word or like anything like that, like any racial slur. It's like people go.
Yep.
It's like
It
that's
stops you. Yeah, it stops you in your tracks.
And
And
it's
it's just
like-
a word.
that's what I'm saying.
But
You
it's-
could that's just like that's
It's
a sound.
society's meaning of it, though. It has nothing to do with the word.
And
It has,
society gives the word the power to offend people.
and that's over so long of a
And you
time.
can take that power away.
That's what. Yeah.
That's what most people don't like. You can like
all of it.
That's
All
what
of
I'm
it.
saying, man.
100% of it. You can just take it away because it was never a thing in the first place. People just randomly like invented it as if it was like a handheld thing, and we just started doing it, and now it's like this super hurtful thing to some people. It's a word that somebody started saying one day, said, hey, this is what I think this means, essentially that's what happened. And we're all like, upset about it, where it's affecting our everyday lives.
I understand why people shouldn't say those type of things to other
Oh, yeah.
people.
I
That's
mean,
an ignorant thing to say, but it's like
yeah.
it's not
we're going back way farther than the actual problem. You know, if you with the, you know, society is the way it is because you know it's how it had to be.
It evolved that way.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were
it
to
had
go
to be that
before
way,
it
but
all,
it did.
if you just went before it all, you know, all of these issues could have just been prevented. Like, but you know, we're not perfect. There was no way we could have known that back then. We gotta fuck up to do it right.
You learn more in your mistakes than you do in your success.
Exactly.
It's
crazy stuff. Everything's crazy. See, this is the greatest part about these conversations. It's like the simplest things we could talk about, and it's like the craziest idea. It's like we go home like contemplating something. It's like that was like a part of our regular life.
That's a good thing.
Everybody can relate to it. That's my favorite part about it. It's like we could sit here and talk for another 2 hours, and every single person out there is going to be able to say, oh yeah, I know it. I know what you're saying with that. Like, you know, this kind of happens with that, or, you know, yeah, that sort of happens in, you know, at home or at work, or it's just everybody can relate to it.
Everyone has thoughts.
Yep.
So
everybody talks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know.
I'd hope so.
No, I don't know. I want to get more people in here though. That's the main thing. I'm glad you came, and I'm glad you see that it's nothing like crazy.
Should we wrap her up?
Yeah, that's what I'm probably gonna wrap her up. But I just wanted to make sure, like, you know, I want you to, just you personally, to, like, you know, talk to some people, even, like, people listening to this. Talk, you know, comment, hit me up. You know, I got Facebook. Our podcast has a Facebook at this point. You know, I'm trying to make things easier and just more clear because, like I said, I don't think that's very clear enough, apparently. And I don't know. It's not as big of a thing as people make it seem, but at the same time, it can be a big thing, bigger than people make it seem. And if you get the perspectives on that, you know, you get what I'm saying. But
and it leads back in our conversations.
But I think everybody should just, you know, check this out. And
I'd love it.
Even if it's not your thing, give it a try.
Yeah, I mean, it's a normal thing, so it should be everybody's thing in some sort of a way.
If you've watched the news once in your life,
yeah.
or like if you've watched the news and like the news was able to captivate your attention, like I really hope that we'll be able to. But
with the guy that got killed around the corner,
we give a good thumbnail.
Good thumbnail. Thank you for coming, Shane.
No problem, man.
We'll see you guys later in a different podcast.
God bless.
Thanks.